Before the alphabet you're reading now, Filipinos already had their own writing, graceful symbols carved on bamboo, written in ink, and passed through generations. These scripts weren't just letters, they were memory itself. Yet when colonization arrived, they were nearly erased. Today, they are being brought back, and their survival tells the story of a nation that refused to forget. Long before Spanish ships appeared on the horizon, the islands that would become the Philippines were already literate. Across Luzon, Visayas and Mindanao, men and women alike wrote on bamboo, palm leaves, and even metal plates. Their writing was rhythmic, flowing like ocean waves, each curve representing syllables instead of single letters. It was the handwriting of a people who valued poetry, trade, and law. When the Spaniards came in the 1500s, they were stunned. Filipinos could read and write even without European education. For a colonizer that expected primitive tribes, this discovery challenged everything they believed. The best known of these ancient scripts is Baybayin, once widespread across Tagalog and Kapampangan regions. Writing flowed softly from top to bottom or left to right, depending on the material. Inks were made from soot and tree resin, pens from bamboo splinters. Messages were written on palm leaves, then folded and tied with a string, the ancient equivalent of letters. Early Spanish friars, like Pedro Chirino and Francisco Blancas de San Jose, recorded that almost everyone they met could read and write Baybayin, even before learning Spanish. Women often wrote faster than men. In a 1604 report, Chirino admitted, "There is hardly a man, and much less a woman, who does not read and write in this script." That sentence alone rewrites colonial myth. While Baybayin dominated central Luzon, the Kapampangans had their own system called Kulitan. Kulitan is written vertically, top to bottom, like traditional Chinese or Japanese scripts. Its shapes are sharper and more geometric, suited to carving on bamboo or wood. Even today, Kapampangan scholars and artists are reviving Kulitan. Modern calligraphers write poems, signage, and even legal names in this ancient form, proving that it never truly died. It just waited to be remembered. In the Visayas, particularly Cebu and Panay, people used a script known as Badlit. It looked similar to Baybayin but had local variations for sounds unique to Visayan languages. When Spanish missionaries first arrived, they had to learn Badlit to communicate. They used it to translate prayers and catechisms, ironic proof that colonization once depended on the very script it would later suppress. On the island of Mindoro, the Mangyan peoples preserved Surat Mangyan, also called Hanunu and Buhid. These scripts are among the oldest continuously used writing systems in Southeast Asia. They write love poems called ambahan, verses about friendship, respect, and wisdom. To this day, Mangyan elders still carve these poems into bamboo, using knives or styluses. When you hold a piece of bamboo inscribed with ambahan verses, you're literally holding living pre-colonial literature. When Spain began converting the islands to Christianity, friars promoted the Latin alphabet for religion and administration. At first, they tolerated native writing, even printed the Doctrina Christiana in 1593 using both Baybayin and Roman text. But soon, the policy shifted. Anything not in Latin script was labeled pagan. Schools replaced Baybayin with Roman letters, and many old manuscripts were burned or rewritten. To control communication, colonial officials discouraged local writing, arguing that native scripts were of no use to government. As new generations learned only Spanish and later English, Baybayin faded from everyday life. While lowland scripts disappeared under colonial schools, upland and island groups kept theirs alive. In Palawan, the Tagbanwa script continued to thrive, also syllabic, and closely related to Baybayin. It was used for rituals, genealogy, and property markings. Among the Buhid and Hanuno Mangyan peoples of Mindoro, the tradition never stopped. Children learned it from elders, carving short messages on bamboo. Even today, UNESCO recognizes these scripts as living traditions of intangible heritage. These communities became the bridge between the past and the present, the reason we still know how pre-colonial Filipinos wrote. Interest in Baybayin re-emerged during the 20th century, as Filipino scholars began to challenge colonial history. Historians like Pablo Bayan Santos, Bayani Abadia and modern researchers traced old manuscripts in archives from Madrid to London. In 1992, a group of artists founded the Baybayin Script Revival movement. Today you'll see Baybayin on street murals, government seals, tattoos, and even passports. The word Filipinos appears in Baybayin above the national seal, a symbolic act of remembrance. Kulitan workshops are held in Pampanga schools. Universities teach Baybayin calligraphy, alongside Western typography. Digital designers are even creating Unicode fonts so these letters can be typed online. On Senkor Zunshan Main, our staten. Our proem adara bipolas is that ancient literacy has entered the digital age. It's important to understand, the Spanish didn't erase Baybayin overnight. It declined slowly, not by force alone, but by cultural replacement. As education became tied to religion, and religion to colonial power, young Filipinos learned that Latin letters meant progress, while their own scripts meant the past. By redefining what counted as civilized, colonization succeeded in burying indigenous literacy beneath shame. But it never destroyed the memory entirely, because some continued to write in secret, and others carved it into bamboo where paper could not burn. Baybayin and its relatives prove that the Philippines was already part of the literate world before Western contact. They show that communication, law, and art existed in local hands. Each script mirrors its environment. Baybayin's soft loops fit brush and leaf, Kulitan's vertical strokes suit bamboo, and Surat Mangyan's thin lines curve with grain. These weren't copies from abroad, they were adaptations shaped by climate, culture, and creativity. They also connect the Philippines to the larger Austronesian world. Similar syllabic scripts appear in Indonesia's Bugis and Batak communities, suggesting ancient exchanges long before colonial times. Across the country, artists and linguists are ensuring these scripts live on. In Pampanga, Michael Raymond Suarez teaches Kulitan calligraphy to children. In Mindoro, the Mangyan Heritage Center archives Ambahan poetry and trains young carvers. The National Commission for Culture and the Arts funds research to include Baybayin in school curricula. Each letter written today is not nostalgia, it's continuity. Relearning these scripts is more than art, it's reclaiming identity. For centuries, Filipinos were told that civilization came from outside, but these symbols say otherwise. They prove that before colonization, Filipinos already had language, literature, and learning. Every Baybayin tattoo, every Kulitan mural, every Mangyan verse is a quiet defiance of amnesia. When someone writes their name in Baybayin today, they're not imitating the past, they're reminding the world that the story of Filipino intelligence did not begin with colonization. Spain may have rewritten our history, but it could not erase our handwriting. The ancient Filipino scripts, Baybayin, Kulitan, Badlit, Surat Mangyan, survived because people refused to stop writing. From bamboo carvings to digital fonts, their journey is the story of resilience itself. When you see those graceful curves and dots, remember, they are not relics, but fingerprints, proof that the Filipino voice has always known how to write its own story.